So your dude just gets 12 bigger every turn, and you just pound everybody into the dirt with your jacked rabbit. And I know that that's a card already, but I just needed to use that in a sentence. Hey, listen to Commander Cookout Podcast, episode 447. I'm Brando. I'm here with Ryan, and we're going to jump down off the red wall and talk about some rabbits, some squirrels, some rats, and some frogs and shit. Now, hit our theme song! Hey, Ryan. We're back for yet another whirlwind adventure. How you doing?
Good. What is going down?
Whole bunch is going down. We got a new set to talk about, a bunch of new legends, although fewer than normal, which I'm actually really excited about. Mm-hmm. And all of them are interesting in some way, which I'm kind of pumped about too. Even the Izzet ones. Ooh. Even the Izzet ones, ooh, they're making an effort, and I like that.
Hey, yeah, good job.
Right, so that's pretty cool. Before we get to any of that kind of stuff, we have to thank our official business daddies, FusionGamingOnline.com, your source for all your gaming needs. And we have to thank Pile of Bones Brewing Co. They are the official beer sponsor of CCO Sidewalk Slam Season 2 right here on YouTube.
Oh, wow. Holy smokes. And big thank you to the Dufferin Avenue Media Network. You'd see it on the TV behind us if you're watching on YouTube.
Which you should be!
Very much so, because Editor Joe works really hard, and we actually got Producer Gary out of bed this morning.
Yes. We are here very early because there's accountants, there's double recordings, we got suit fittings, we got frickin' lunches, we have set building, we got all sorts of stuff that we're doing this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So bright and early, we're up here. It was like going to work, I had to get up so early.
So many fun things to talk about. So let's get right into it. Big thanks to FusionGamingOnline.com. New promo code CCO Summer at checkout on the screen right now. If you're going to buy these cards anyways, you might as well get a discount on them.
Pro strat. Pay less for things that you want.
It's that easy.
Yeah.
It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 letters you type in. 10, yeah. 10 if you hold the caps caps lock down or whatever.
And you don't even have to.
Oh, bonus track.
You don't even need to.
You're going to buy them anyways. Sealed singles, sleeves, deck boxes, play mats, whatever you need. Fusion's got it. If you're in Canada, you can get all the sealed stuff shipped to your door. And I just had a Fusion order show up.
Oh, wow.
3 days.
Wow.
3 days.
Were they your pre-orders?
They weren't my pre-orders. They were something from a Brewvac deck. I needed an Archmage's Charm.
Good.
Yeah, Archmage's Charm. I bought an extra one for the Altered Art Facebook auctions, and one foily promo-y one.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered 3 cards from Bloomburrow.
Oh, there. What did you get?
I got the new Norin the Wary Offspring Impact Tremor guy.
Yeah.
And I got the Dirty Rotten Stinking Bird guy for my Toxrill deck.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no chance I'm going to open one of those.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that card today.
And I got the tree, the city tree. I think I ordered the fall one because that was the one that was there.
Yeah, I haven't done any Bloomburrow orders yet, but when I do, CCO Summer. And if it's your first time, you're going to spend over $100. CCO Perks, that code, still active. It's going to get you 10% store credit kickback.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, big thanks to Pile of Bones, official beer sponsors for Sidewalk Slam. We have got Game 5 of Season 2 planned out. Cameras right there.
Yeah.
We've got it set. We've got our third player. We're going to ask our fourth player. We're going to get it set up in the next week or so. We got to talk to producer Gary about that. Mm-hmm. And it's going to sound so good. It's going to look good. It's going to be like 100% professional quality. And I'm actually excited for what the finished product is going to look like. And editor Tyler's just been like grinding me into the dirt on the Discord to like get him the next game.
Well, I guess I'll have to play it first.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you want to get into the Discord, you can do that on patreon.com/CCO Podcast. Get into the Discord, great benefit. Yep. CCO nickname, medium
it's
benefit.
A benefit that is also there, yeah.
Playing VEDH games with people in the nation.
That's actually pretty fun. I like doing
on
that.
CCO's Curbside Pickup.
Yeah.
Very fun. I don't think I've ever had a bad game with somebody in the nation.
That's true. I like one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, lost.
Lost. Oh, yeah, Brando. He doesn't like losing. Yeah. So all great benefits to becoming a patron. Plus, you're supporting things like Sidewalk Slam and the studio and getting the lights for the green screen over there that we just set up, and it's going to look fantastic. And Commander Munchies, our latest new short story shorts that our good friend All Chiller No Filler Miller's doing.
Yep.
They're so fun.
They are pretty good.
He's got like little drawings, and somebody like fell asleep or something, so he like turned the drawing sideways. I thought it was so funny. I forgot to put the graphic up on the TV. God dang it.
We'll get there.
Man, I suck.
We're professionals. We're not professionals.
Yeah. One too few P between the two of us.
That's right.
Ooh, don't Google that?
Correct.
What you could Google, though, is Brando's box openings. You've got 2 coming up.
Yeah, we're gonna open this very box that you can see in front of me if you're watching on YouTube. We're gonna open that together today once I get everything all set up.
Yep.
And then the other day I went out on an adventure and I found something that was pretty cool. Oh. And I'm looking forward to everybody getting a chance to see that.
Man, we laughed so hard. We laughed. Hey. Me and producer Gary laughed pretty.
I'm working hard on these. I hope people are enjoying them.
He don't even play Magic, and he likes watching them.
Yeah.
Just because there's some funny gimmick or something, right? And this one, if you like the brand opener and potentially stabbing Magic cards with a meat cleaver, you're gonna like this one.
You're gonna like this. I really lived the gimmick and like the era that the set that I'm opening is.
Yeah, very much so. Okay, so listen, we have got a bonus show tomorrow where we're looking at the Commander precons for Bloomburrow, and we're looking at the 8 legends that come in those boxes.
Yep, we're going to check out the legends that come in the decks, like the foily face card ones, and we're going to gauge them on how good are they out of the box. Like, are you going to go to an EDH&M, your first one, and typically, if you buy a precon these days, you can usually hang. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's lots of precons that just come out of the box and maybe they don't blow away games, but they hang in there. Will these ones do the same? We'll tell you tomorrow.
Ooh, very much. So do you remember, or do you kind of keep mental track of when you lose to a precon or even a slightly modified precon?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
No.
Only Captain Nagathrod, because that deck is insane.
That deck's good. Yeah, that's
that
a
deck
good
is
precon.
fucking crazy.
Let's talk about that tomorrow. Maybe we can use that as a gauge. If that's like one of the best precons ever, I guess let us know in the comments if you think Captain Nagathrod is one of the best precons. We've asked for that in the past.
It's on
and
a
that one did come up.
The scale would go probably the Boros experience count giant lady is at the
2015.
bottom, and then the top is Captain Nagathrod. That's how I would.
That's the range.
That's the range that I would say most of the decks fall into.
It's so funny because like that same year had Marin.
Yeah.
And then the following year had the Ur-Dragon. Right? It's like, what? Yeah. So,
well.
anyways, we have got a little bit more podcasting business, but we can either mix it in or we can talk about it tomorrow because we got another show.
Let's do it tomorrow.
Okay.
We got 30. How many we got?
There's
26 cards.
26. And we're going to do them all.
We're going to get them all.
We're going to get them all. And if we can like go deep on some of them that I think that we ought to go deep on, great.
Cool.
We'll get the penetration on those that everybody comes to expect from CCO.
Don't Google that.
No, definitely not. If some are very obviously like designed around the limited mechanic or just not going to see play, maybe we'll talk about them and say that maybe they go on a 99 somewhere, but I don't know.
I think there's a lot of 99ers in here, if I'm being honest. And some of them aren't, like, we'll just start. In my opinion, Alania Divergent Storm.
There's a bug in here. Uncle Brando keeps doing the thing.
The 3/5 for Izzet and 3.
Yep.
It's another Izzet commander that says whenever you play an instant or sorcery spell, do a fucking thing. Yes, it says that. But it also says if it's an otter.
Oh.
So they're adding one new word to try and make the Izzet Spellslinger deck interesting for people who don't give a shit about that deck, like me.
And the question is, do we have enough otters, or is this just a storm deck? So here, I'll give it a read. Alania Divergent Storm, Izzet 3/5 otter wizard. That matters.
Yep.
And we're going to see a trend there where it's you're either in a party or you're an outlaw. And I talked about it on the pre-show yesterday that I think is really limiting or putting creatures and design into a box. And I don't really like it.
Well, now they have to be careful when they print things that are outlaws because
That might matter.
there are cards that give a shit about those things now. And if you're going to print, they're not lords and stuff, but if you're going to print cards that care about an umbrella of creature types,
Like outlawness.
now you have to be careful where you put them.
Creatures in your party get +1/+1, or outlaws get death touch.
Yeah, and while that is cool, I feel like eventually they're going to just forget and just be like, oh, yeah, well, this thing has...
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But this is not one of those cases.
Okay, Alania. Whenever you cast a spell, if it's your first instant spell or sorcery spell or otter spell, other than Alania, you've cast this turn, you can have an opponent draw a card. And if you do that, copy the spell.
Yeah, so you can get an extra otter, or you can play another instant or sorcery.
I think that this has potential to go a little bit cuckoo.
Absolutely.
Mind you, it's only your first one, right? But like my Calamax deck, you know that I'm going to cast a spell on my turn.
Yep.
It's like the booster pack game. My turn.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Yeah.
Player 3's turn.
Oh.
Player 4's turn.
Oh.
And I'm going to copy a spell on each of those turns.
Yep. Or like a lot of people are probably thinking, well, I'm going to time walk, and I'll time walk again. And
Ooh.
yeah.
Ooh, that's good.
Because that also works, right?
Because that's the first one that I cast on my turn.
Yeah.
But you get to draw cards every time. Oh, if you're tapped out, I'll just choose you.
Who gives a shit? Like, cool. I still get 8 turns. Like, I still win.
The drawing a card does distinctly limit its power level, though. Like, the higher you go up in the competition ladder, right? I'm going to start letting you draw cards, and you're going to draw things that are free. Yeah. And you can force of will my next extra turn spell or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, so there's a cap on it.
There is a cap on it, but it's... They're trying. I said it yesterday. They're trying to make that Is It Legends. I challenge WotC. Can you please print us a blue and red legendary creature that doesn't give a shit about instants or sorceries? Just one. Just one. Just one.
They almost did. And for reference, Alania not included, there are 19 otter cards.
There's 18 because one of them is banned because it's Lutri.
Oh, yeah, and one of them has green in it, so that's 17.
Yeah. They're trying. Listen, they're trying. I'm giving them credit for trying. They did their best. They did their best, and it's fine.
Sure. Yeah. Let's move on. Arthur.
No, Arthur's a commander deck one.
Oh, yeah.
Balin, the Haymaker.
Oh, yeah. I actually like this guy.
I think he's cool, but I don't think he's interesting. He is a 4/3 for Naya colors, Rabbit Warrior. Tap 2 untapped tokens you control, add a mana of any color. Tap 3 untapped tokens you control, draw a card. Tap 4 untapped artifacts you control, put 3+1/+1 counters on him. It gains trample until end of turn.
You let the cat out of the bag. You said artifacts. Do people just tap their treasures for these?
Yes. Yes.
This guy gives me Jetmir vibes a little bit. Especially that last ability, put 3+1 counters on Balin. This is, instead of go wide Jetmir, this is go tall Jetmir.
Yes.
That gives you, instead of +1 and first strike or whatever it is, it gives you mana. Okay, that's good. Instead of another +1 and whatever it is that Jetmir does, it's draw a card. So it feeds itself from the command zone for 3 mana. And instead of all your guys get big, one guy gets big.
If you want to play the typical might sound like a bad word at this point. If you want to play the Naya token deck, which is an established archetype in EDH, this is a deck that can do it. It takes advantage of the tokens to give you advantage for mana. It's like fixing or card draw, or to get your commander to be really big so we can slap somebody's lips into the dirt, which is important.
Slap lips into the dirt. How about usually it's slap lips off face, stomp dink into dirt.
But this one,
this is slap lips into the dirt, and stomps dink off face.
I guess so.
I mean, if somebody's the dink is going to be on somebody's face.
There's dinks going somewhere. Is the point?
Yes.
And I mean, also you could do this where it's just full on treasure tokens all day long with an unwinding clock. So your dude just gets 12 bigger every turn, and you just pound everybody into the dirt with your jacked rabbit. And I know that that's a card already, but I just needed to use that in a sentence.
I like everything about what you just did there. The strategy, the card inclusions, the joke, all of that was good.
Thanks.
This is why you're... How many P's in professional before your podcast title?
3?
3. You could almost add a 4th with that.
That's pretty good.
I think this guy's good. I love the 3 color, 3 cost commander design. Like I think that that's a nice place for commanders to live. What I don't like about having color in a mana cost is when we see that we're getting like 4 3s for 3.
Yeah.
Why isn't this guy a 1/1? Right? Like look at Animar. And he's still so powerful. Look at I know Kalia costs like color and 1. She's a 2/2.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. That's just like old man magic, like shakes fist at cloud type thing.
I think it
right?
is too, because Animar has protection from the 2 best removal colors, so he can be a 1/1. This doesn't.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think people just have the feel badge. Like, well, I'm going to attack you with a goblin token that's got a Vorpal sword on it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
You have 8 mana? Yeah, okay. I guess I'll block it with my Balin and he'll die. You know what I mean?
Are you speaking from experience?
No, because this card isn't out yet. I'm sure that I will.
Oh, yeah.
Next card we're going to talk about is, I think we were talking about it before the show. This one harkens to me back to the days of classic Magic where a legend just meant it had a novel of text on it, but it wasn't a strategy in and of itself. The card didn't tell you what to do with the build. It doesn't tell you inclusions. It doesn't. This is a utility card if I have ever seen one.
Is it Beza or Beza?
Either one.
Beza the Bounding Spring is a 4/5 elemental elk for white 2. When it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. If an opponent has more lands than you, gain 4 life. If an opponent has more life than you, create 2 blue fish creature tokens if somebody has more creatures, and draw a card if somebody has more cards in hand.
There you go.
This is a fine card to blink until you don't have to blink it anymore, which relegates it probably to the 99 because it's probably going in your blue-white blink deck.
Correct. Because it gives you the value of like all metrics where an opponent can be doing better than you. It catches you up, which is cool. But a catch-up card in the command zone, I don't think is a good use of a command zone. Not that makes the deck shitty, but if you're playing a card that's assuming you're just going to be behind, why don't you play something that gets you ahead instead?
Yes.
Right?
Or why don't you play something that allows you to be ahead?
Yeah.
Instead of, I like this in a, what kind of white deck is this? Where you're playing things that ought not to be white, like white counterspells, or white things that allow you to sacrifice, like they were black cards to do stuff, right? And this is the commander. But again, 99 is where I expect to see this card 99% of the time.
If we end up seeing it at all.
Yeah, I love the art, though. Holy smokes. Hey, that's a nice looking piece.
I like the sunflowers. It kind of looks like the evil Erd Tree thing from Shadow of the Erd Tree in Elden Ring. There's a giant sunflower boss, and it kind of looks like that, but more evil with more fire. And
gives me Rings of Power Season 2 vibes. Rings of Power coming up.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited.
Probably are.
Yeah, probably are. Yeah, I am. You want to fight?
Talk about another fucking otter that gives a shit about your instance and sorcery count.
Bria?
Bria,
Riptide Rogue. Oh, another rogue. Okay, 3/3 Otter Rogue. Red, blue, 2 prowess. Other creatures you control have prowess. That's actually good.
That is a good card.
I think people are undervaluing that.
Yes.
Other creatures you control have prowess? Like, what if I got like 10 guys?
Monastery Swiftspear won a lot of games.
What if I got like 10 guys and I just go like instant, and now you're taking like 40?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Okay. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. Oh, like in my example. Instant. Yeah. I'll give all... Dude, I'll cast like a battle cry or whatever. All my creatures get +1/+0. It's actually +2/0, and this guy can't be blocked. And now this guy when I cast my brute strength. Now this guy when I cast my frickin' cathartic reunion.
Sure.
You're gonna take 40. You can't block any of them.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Is that the deck?
Yeah.
I think, is it a token deck? Do you expect to see otters and goblins?
I expect to see goblins and literally no other otters in this deck. That's what I expect to see.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if I saw that.
Maybe you get the other otter that we talked about already, because then you can copy your Krenko's command and your Empty the Warrens or whatever the hell it is you're playing to make your goblin tokens.
Yes.
That get big because you're playing instants and sorceries. But this is another quasi Izzet Storm deck
What's the one where you can sacrifice a mountain instead of paying its cost? Like Downhill Charge?
Yeah.
Sacrifice 2 mountains and all your creatures get like...
+2/+0 until end of turn?
No, it's like
it
plus X, where X is the number of mountains you control.
Oh, dang.
What if we were playing that with Elenia and Goblins and Bria? And, oh, that's good. That's aggro right there.
Pre-con o'clock, baby.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad.
I think you'd play that.
I probably would.
I think that you would jam that. Like if somebody, like if you just went over to somebody's house that you didn't know played Magic, and they're like, "Oh, we got this deck. Like you pick these 4 decks. Which one do you want?"
Yeah.
And one of them was that one.
I'd pick that one.
Yeah. And you'd probably crush them all, and you'd pretend that you're a noob, no sleeves, no playmat. How much life do I start at?
Yes.
Take 80. I think that there's a distinct possibility that could happen with those 2 commanders.
Correct. Maybe that'll be my Raw Dog deck.
Oh. How do we...
Did we get there?
Raw Otter deck?
Rotter deck.
Rotter deck. Raw Otter. Yes.
Raw Otter. Yeah, we did it.
Yeah.
Okay, next card.
Okay, hey, CCO Nation, submit some cards to him in the 7AF deck help thread on the Discord.
Let's get it done. I'm jealous. Everybody else has one. I want one too.
I got Downhill Charge if you need.
Me too. You think I don't have a Downhill Charge? Come on, man.
Oh, man. Downhill Charge. That's the only direction that we head.
Yes.
Just frickin' down.
We've been charging downhill for 400 plus episodes,
we
my
suck.
guy.
Okay. Oh,
Is it Burke?
Bierk?
Bierk?
Bierk? Burke? It's got to be Burke. Joseph. Long ear of the law. What a funny name, hey?
Why isn't he wearing
a cowboy hat? Just guns. Why wasn't this guy in Thunder Junction?
Correct.
Okay.
He's too short. He's just a little rabbit.
Yeah. Rabbit, soldier, white, green, 4, vigilance.
This guy better be good if he's
Is he a vigilante or is he a sheriff? What's going on here?
Well, he would be a sheriff. He'd be a lawman because he's the long ear.
Yeah, but he's a
law.
vigilante. Okay, so he's got vigilance, gets +1/+1 counter for each of up to 2.
He comes into play. He puts a +1/+1 counter on up to 2 target creatures.
I was trying to shortcut it.
He deputizes them, and then whenever his deputies attack, you double the number of counters on them.
Ooh.
That's what that is. So he deputizes your creatures.
Yes.
Then he forms a posse that then attacks. That's what's going on there. I think that's cool.
Yep.
I don't know, it's Celestia. It's a fun deck. I don't think that, again, it's exciting enough that I would build around it, especially for 6 mana. But it's pretty cool. It's a cool card, and I like it. And I would play it in decks, like if I had a dedicated Celestia deck. Because it I think a deck or a card like this, it removes one of the difficulties of playing a low to the ground, go really wide token strategy where, like, maybe I can sneak 1 or 2 creatures in for damage somewhere, but they're not big enough to really do anything, and all the rest of my guys kind of suck. This guy lets you, especially if you can like blink him in and out, you can start to make your key tokens a little bit bigger. Like, oh, this one's unblockable because I got a thing on it, so I'm going to make it really big so I can sneak past this wall of guys that are bigger than mine, right? I think it's a space filler, and it fills a key hole in the strategy like that.
I don't think it's a space filler. I think this is the top of the curve in a bunch of decks that say when it enters, it gets a +1, or enters with this many +1s like Hydras, or think of like Bond Beetle or the new Middle Finger Frog. When they ETB, they give something a counter.
Yeah.
This is whenever a creature you control with a +1 counter on it attacks, double the number of counters on it. Like think of Bond Beetle on turn 1. It gets 1 power, but it's got a +1 on it.
Sure.
Something like that's got a +1 on turn 2. Same on turn 3, doubling season on turn 4 or 5, this on turn 6, and all of a sudden you're quadrupling the counters on your guys that attack. Like if something's got 2 counters on it, it's going to double to 4 counters, it's going to double to 8 counters, and it might have 1 power natively already. It's going to hit you for 9, and you've got 2 or 3 of those. By turn 6, when this ETBs, he doesn't have to attack to do that. It's just creatures that have +1s on it. I think this card is sneaky good.
Sure, there you go.
And I didn't think that until you started doing your piece there. And I was like, what the heck? This is 6 mana. Who's going to play this? And then I thought of what the curve might look like.
Yeah. And I guess there's lots of... What's the... Fertilid? Is that the elemental where it's got rampant growth on it? It just
Yep.
comes into play with 3 counters on
And
it?
you remove counters, go search for land.
You could beat ass with Fertilids and then find land after. Or does it tap?
I don't know,
I
but
don't remember if it taps.
but you
anyway,
can beat ass with Fertilid.
Yeah, you could beat wholesale ass with a Fertilid if you wanted to, which is pretty cool.
Yep, this is good. And it doesn't have anything to do with tokens, just +1s and just farm them.
I use tokens because it's a Celestia, so
Yeah.
oftentimes you'll see
Yeah.
those sorts of things. Let's talk about our first squirrel.
Yes. Now, squirrels to me are getting to the area that slivers are getting, not in terms of power and prestige and longevity of like fandom and stuff, but I don't know. There's something about when I sit down and play against a squirrel player, I just know what kind of person that's going to be.
Yeah.
And I feel the same with slivers. And it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a type of player.
Hey, what are you trying to say?
Hey,
I play Sliver.
I'm just throwing you under the bus and calling it as I see it. Camellia?
The Seed Miser.
How come we can't pronounce any of these?
Because they're stupid names. The names are stupid.
If we pronounce that double L like in Spanish, it would be like Camilla,
Camilla.
the Seed Miser. Okay, I'm going to do this.
Okay.
Squirrel, Warlock. So this is a bad guy.
Bad guy.
Okay, 3/3. Green, black, 1.
Sure.
Menace.
Sure.
Other squirrels you control have Menace.
Of course they do.
Ooh, that's already good.
Yeah, of course they do.
Whenever you sacrifice 1 or more foods, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token.
Of course. Is
One
there
or more.
I bet there's more.
Good thing they said 1 or more.
Yes.
Eh? Holy smokes. Because the squirrel deck already goes burr, right?
Yeah.
2, forage. Put a +1/+1 counter on each mother ass squirrel you control.
Each other. Not her.
Yeah, I don't care. It's each one.
Yes.
Each one that I'm freaking attacking with, and I'll
Yes.
have menace now
Yep,
because
yep.
they're all going to be 4/4s or 5/5s, and there's
Yes.
going to be 15 of them.
Yeah.
So to forage, remember we talked about last week, is to exile 3 cards from your graveyard or to sacrifice a food.
Yes.
This is a high-end finisher in squirrel decks. I liken this card potentially to,
You say Squirrel deck like it's not Chatterfang.
yeah, but
In a Chatterfang deck.
okay, yeah, sure. But I don't need Chatterfang to make 15 squirrels and kill you with this.
You don't.
Right? I liken this, and just hear me out, to Craterhoof Behemoth. I think it's going to be that good in squirrel decks because you can spend 3 mana on layaway, as if squirrel decks have a hard time making 8 mana like
Yeah.
Craterhoof needs, but spend 3 mana on layaway, and then over the course of a few turns, spend 2, and then on my kill turn, I'm going to spend 10 on it, and my squirrels are going to be bigger than Craterhoof. They're going to be +1 countered, and they're going to have menace, which kind of acts like trample acts like with Craterhoof.
Which ain't nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This card is really good.
See, I see it as like low-end Mazarek.
Also good.
In the Squirrel deck. Because, I mean, I guess Mazarek kind of does the same, but kind of better, doesn't it?
Mazarek is whenever you sack a permanent, put a +1 counter on each creature you control.
Whenever anybody sacrifices a permanent. You know what? Mazarek is better. Play Mazarek in your...
I bet you
your
lots of
squirrel
people.
decks.
I bet you lots of people don't do that because it's not a squirrel.
Yeah.
And because squirrels. Right?
That's why it's a squirrel. Because they couldn't play Mazarek. So they just gave you...
Yeah.
They just gave you less good Mazarek for your squirrel
And
deck.
this is what I would say. If you're playing Craterhoof or Mazarek in your squirrel deck, cut it and play this. Because it's going to do something similar, but now it's on point.
There you go.
Yeah,
it's on
that's fine.
It's on theme. I dig that.
Oh, here's the evaluation. If you're playing squirrels, play Camellia.
Yeah.
Could have saved editor Joe like 10 minutes editing. Sorry, Joe.
Clement the Worrywart.
You like this guy,
I
don't
do
you?
like this, and not just because it's a frog, and not because I fully understand what the gimmick here is, but I do like it. So it's a 3/3 for blue, green, 1 with vigilance. Whenever it or another creature you control, and I hate enters, comes into play, return up to 1 target creature you control with mana value less than it to your hand or to its owner's hand. And as frogs you control have tap, add a green or a blue, spend this mana only to cast a creature spell.
Ooh.
So your creatures bounce your other creatures so that you can take advantage of multiple instances of their ETB ability.
Yep.
Or if they have flash, you can use them to save your guys in certain circumstances. I dig this. I think it's a cool utility card, and I'm looking forward to seeing what people do with this because it's fun, and the art is cool too.
Yeah.
Because it's a frog.
I liken this guy to like a little mini Cloudstone Curio in the command zone.
Sure.
He can't do the same thing because you always have to go down the chain.
Yeah.
But if, like you said, if you've got like a 3-drop, a 2-drop, and a 1-drop that all have an ETB, that's pretty good. Throw in a little haste enabler, like a because everybody can just afford it at Crossroads, right?
They're not expensive anymore, are they?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, damn.
But if you can do that and then bounce your guy, then replay him again, you can take advantage of like free mana or free creature spells, right?
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, if you could play this, birthing pod isn't the right word, but like you could go up and down the chain where you've got this thing in play and you attack with your team. And then you can play your dude. If you have enough mana going on, you could just play your dude on the next, like, second main phase, bounce a guy, play it again, play it again, play it again. And it's, like, really, really, really expensive vigilance. And you get all your ETPs again, which is cool.
Concordant Crossroads and Cloudstone Curio, for just prosperity's sake or whatever, are anywhere between $15 and $20.
Dang.
So not too much, but I think both of those cards have a great place in this deck.
Yes.
Alongside things like, what's the one that gives all your creatures tap to add mana of any color? It's an enchantment from like Eldritch Moon or something. You know the one, right?
I sure do.
Yeah.
I sure do. That one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
This guy does that plus...
Plus has some cloud. It's like gnarly that and not so good Cloudstone Curio. It's a good card. I think it's fun.
How many frogs we got here in the game already? Like how many? There's 69 frogs. Nice. Yeah. How many could we play? Well, some are black, some are blue, some are green. Those are generally the frog colors.
There's a red one.
We've got Frogmere Enforcer, which is a card we talked about a couple weeks ago on Imskir, Iron Beater. Grolnok. We've got, lots of frogs. And major frog contribution from...
Yes,
from Bloomburrow,
mostly from this set. I think because people they probably saw the reaction to Poison Dart Frog, and then the subsequent Poison Dart Frog with a gun. That's one of my favorite.
Well,
memes.
Plaxcaster Frogling has been a card forever, and like we got Psychic Frog. They gave us Psychotog in frog form. How far away are we actually from like on the pre-show? Frog. How far are we? And the Atog Frog mashup deck. Like, that's got to be a thing that comes.
I'm hoping so.
Dude, and if we called that, because we've made some, like, pretty brash and bold calls that have actually come true. Mm-hmm. If we call Frog a Frog...
We are... WotC has to hire us at that point.
WotC would never hire us.
Which is ridiculous, because we're awesome.
I suppose.
Anyway,
well, we're Canadian, hey, so they haven't figured out how to pay Canadians. That's literally why Canadians can't win the cosplay contests at Magic Cons, because they don't know how to do that.
Just give us a check. We have banks here. Jesus.
Oh, yeah. They think that we store all our money in, like, the bottoms of beaver dams, and we got to swim up underneath them to get our cash.
Like, what are they going to do if we give them this big novelty check? We're going to take it to the bank and cash it like a normal person. Anyway, let's talk about Dragonhawk's Fake Tempest.
Fake Tempest.
You heard me.
Yeah, I don't know if this card's that great.
I don't give a shit about this card, honestly.
It's a 5/5 flying bird dragon. Cool art. Cool picture. It's like a 4-winged dragon bird thing. It's pretty cool.
Whatever.
Why isn't this one of the elemental bad guys?
Isn't it?
No, it's a bird dragon. Feels kind of out of place, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, it's a 5/5 flyer for 5, so you're going to draft it in limited and win every game you play it in. When Dragonhawk enters or attacks, there we go, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 4 or greater. You may play those cards until the end of your next end step. At the beginning of your next end step, Dragonhawk deals 2 damage for each opponent for each of those cards that are still exiled.
So what you have here is 3 separate legends, all of which care about things that cost 4 or more, and none of which go in each other. You can't play them all at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get it.
What are the other 2? Have we seen them yet?
No, yeah, there's Blarg or Glarb and Schmarg, whatever. It's right.
Oh, yeah,
it's right
okay,
down
yeah,
here
okay.
on the screen. We're going to get to them soon because I'm very excited to talk about one of those.
I like this guy if I could figure out how to infinitely bounce him in mono red, because he just immediately kills everybody at the end of your turn in the command zone.
Yeah, if you draw your whole deck.
If you exile your whole deck, which exile my whole deck, and if somebody lives, I just frickin' lose, which is hilarious to me. But also, like, He acts as a card draw engine out of the deck, especially if you're playing him with other 4-drops. And you can play him with some shitty 4-drops. Like there's a wall that's like a 1/4 wall a 4/1 wall for like 1 mana or 2 mana.
Right.
And that would just allow you to draw a card with this guy, right?
Yeah.
But mostly, I expect to see this like in the 99 of Dragon decks.
Yeah, it'll be played. Let's talk about Eluge the Shoreless Sea. This is one of the villains, right?
This is, yeah. Anyone that has like elemental and it's like supposed to be a big guy.
Okay.
Like this has got a star, where star is something. We'll
number of lands we control that have flood counters on them.
Power
Number of
toughness,
islands we control.
Each equal to the number of islands we control. When it enters or attacks, put a flood counter on target land. It's an island in addition to its other types as long as it has a flood counter on it.
Sure.
That's bullshit. It should just be an island.
Yes. It should just be a fucking island.
The first instant and sorcery spell you cast each turn costs blue or 1 less to cast for each land you control with a flood counter on it.
So they give you this land changing thing and then make you point it at yourself.
Yes. You can also play the other artifacts and stuff that say flood counters go on stuff to mess with your opponents and or yourself, but you're playing mono blue anyways.
Yeah.
So if you have to, you just put all the flood counters on your own islands, and it makes for actually a huge cost reduction if you can like play some of the cards that have flood counter like strategy.
We're gonna look at them to see how many flood counter cards there are.
Flood counter.
There's 8 of them.
There is.
Of course,
Now,
one of them we can't play.
Bounty of the Luxa.
One of them we can't play.
And one of them is Lava Brink Floodgates. You do play that card.
I do play. That card's a good card.
Yeah. A Quicksilver Fountain was the one I was thinking of. This card's actually good. 3-drop artifact at the beginning of each player's upkeep. That player puts a flood counter on target non-island land they control. That land is an island.
There you go.
And at the end of turn, if all lands in player islands, remove all flood counters. So this lets us spam flood counters. Aquatex Will is a merfolk sorcery. Put a flood counter on target island. It's an island.
Yeah.
Or target land. It becomes an island. And you can do your own stuff with Eluge and just make for huge cost reductions.
Yep.
Like what if you go
This is where you play all those big, stupid blue instants and sorceries that you've always wanted to.
Yes, and all the X spell ones that like say draw X cards.
But you don't want to play Urza, so you can play this instead.
Yeah, or this might just go into like the sea monster deck.
I think that's probably more likely.
You know what? It doesn't though, because it's a fish. It's not a kraken or a leviathan, and it's only giving you cost reductions for instants and sorceries.
It's only for 1 spell, and I think that when you read all those abilities, they sound really good, but I think in practice, this isn't going to be as cool as even we talking about it is, because it's got to come in.
I think it's slow.
And attack, and your cost reduction can only go down by the number of lands that you have after your commander has attacked and entered the battlefield, and it only works for 1 spell. So there's a lot of hoops to jump through. One of the biggest hoops in modern EDH is time. Like how many chances do you have to attack with this thing before either the game's just over or somebody kills it and you don't get anything, right?
Here's the scenario. This is a 4-drop. Let's just pretend we cast it for 4.
Sure.
Like on 4, right?
And you can't do it much faster because it's blue, blue, blue 1.
Yeah. So, yeah, Soul Ring
Help.
is good, but it doesn't help that much. Okay, so we cast this on turn 4. It has no flood count. It got 1 flood counter on it because ETBs, right?
Yep.
On turn 5, we attack with it. So now 2 flood counters.
Yep.
Then we cast a 7-drop for 5 on turn 5. Is that good?
7-drop instant or sorcery?
Yes.
That's
That's
not bad.
probably good.
It's not bad.
7 mana is a lot to spend on turn 5, and that could do lots of good stuff.
And 2 flood counters does make counter spell free,
Yes, it does.
Right?
Hey,
Like-
that's really good.
right? So are you going to see
because on
each turn?
each turn, not my turn,
So, like,
each turn.
So are we going to? Is this going to turn into Eluge bad counter spells? Ooh. You know what I mean? Where now you can play all those shitty 4-mana counter spells.
Cancel for president? Yes,
Right?
yes.
Because now your cancel costs 1 instead of...
Dude, how many Eluge Raw Dog decks with middle finger cancels that I've painted are we going to see? Yes.
So, I mean... I think the most value you get out of this guy is with the counterspell game, but then you're playing mono, like, You really could do mono blue counter spells, and all of your counter spells are Force of Will with this deck.
And extra turn spells.
Yes.
Because Illuge extra turns is really good because I'll just, on each of my turns, take an extra turn for free.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's
okay, we broke it. Hey, turns out that doubling season, Cloudstone Curio and extra turns are good. Thanks, Commander Cookout.
What? Man, we've done it again.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Crack the code.
Phineas Ace Archer. Is this guy any good? White, green, vigilance, reach, 2/2, rabbit archer. When he attacks, put a +1 counter on each other creature you control. That's a token or a rabbit. Then if you got 10 or more power, you draw a card.
That will go in the 99 of many decks.
Yeah, it's card draw in Selesnya, which is good. He has to attack, and he's only a 2/2. Is that good? You're not going to draw a card till mid to late game.
He doesn't get big.
This is a 99 card.
Yeah, this is a 99 card for sure.
Let's move on to the star of the show. This is what we've all been waiting for.
We got one on the table right now.
Do we? Where is it?
What are we talking about? Are we talking about this one or this one?
This one.
Yeah, he's right here. He's right there in front of me.
Oh,
People
yeah,
have been
he
looking
is.
at
He's
it
on
for
the
whole
box.
show, yeah.
Flubs the Fool.
Flubs the Fool, baby. This is what I'm talking about. I'm so excited about this card for what other people are going to do with it. I don't get it.
100% playing this card in my lands deck. It's got my favorite mana cost in green, blue, red, Frog Scout. Is that a party member?
No.
Scout. Okay.
I think that's irony because he's looking at the sky while walking off a cliff. What a bad scout.
Yeah. As an addition, you can play an additional land on each of your turns.
That's good.
That goes in my lands deck. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell,
Neat.
Draw a card if you have no cards in hand.
Neat.
Otherwise, discard a card.
Oh.
So this is interesting. Whenever I play a land or cast a spell. So what if I cast a card draw spell? It just makes it one card less good unless I also care about my graveyard.
Which you'd better if you're going to play this deck.
Like if I discard a land card, but I have a Crucible of Worlds or a Random Map Excavator in my graveyard.
Yeah.
Then I play a land, then I discard a card, but I can play an extra land, so I played it from my graveyard.
Yeah, and then you discard another card.
Unless I draw.
Unless your hand is empty. Yes.
This card is really good with all of the chaos draw, where you exile. So the card's not in your hand, but you can play it until end of turn. And that's what I expect to see for the most part, is the exile draw effects from red, filling up your hand with blue, like things like Windfall. If I've got 7 cards in my hand, I got to discard 1 to play the best one. That's not such a big deal.
Sure.
And all of the extra mana production in green that lets us just go land. And then Underworld Breach. Right? Because we're in those colors.
Because why not?
Because why not? Or in my 5-color lands deck, where I could play Underworld Breach, or I could play Yawgmoth's Will, and go land from my graveyard.
Yeah.
Right? Like, land from my graveyard, land from my hand that I drew because my hand was empty. And when I played that land, I draw a card. Land from my hand or land from my graveyard to draw a card. Like, this guy is so freaky.
He's so good. He's very cool.
And how can you not love the art?
Yeah, and like he's dancing. He's the fool from tarot cards. He's got the little bug there. Guy gets in, dude, you got to turn around. You're going to fall off the cliff. And he's like, I don't even care. I got this sweet flower in my little hobo bag. This is fun. I like him lots.
So good.
He's a champion is what he is.
Send us these decks. We're looking for Bloomburrow decks because there's a lot of kooky stuff.
This is the one that we want, though.
We want flubs. We want Uncle Brando's Raw Dog Otter deck.
Yeah.
We want cards for that. You're building... Let's go to Glarb right now.
Glarb! Oh, first of all, last week I teased it. I was going to tell you about my favorite art, possibly ever.
Glarb just chilling.
Glarb, Calamity's Augur. The regular old-ass art of him. He's this pale frog looking all sexy in a chair. He's inviting you in with his staunch hotness. He's very macho, right? He's the Tinder profile. You're always going to swipe whatever direction says yes on Tinder.
Yep.
Right? And then if you look at his showcase art, which is going to be on the screen for YouTube, that's the guy that actually shows up to the date. And he's like 10 years older and he doesn't shower no more and he's got a really nasty
plays
drug
Magic
habit,
the Gathering.
Right? Exactly, right? I love Glarb so much based on the art and what he does. Because he is a 2/4 death-touching frog, wizard, noble for black, green, blue. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. The first time I read Glarb, I stopped reading right there, knowing I was going to try and build this. But then I continued reading, and it says, you may play lands and cast spells with mana value 4 or greater from the top of your library. That's pretty cool, because that's going to be probably every card in the deck.
Yep.
And you can tap him to Surveil 2, which is look at the top 2 cards of your library. You can put them back in any order or bin them.
That is
so cool.
I think that this is going to be so good in my lands deck, too. It's so good right before an ad nauseum to look at the top 2 and be like, am I going to ad nauseum into a 5-drop and then a 5-drop again? Like, am I going to go like Fumigate Gitrog and take 10
and just die
right off the bat and just bin them both? And oh man, that's so good. Looking at the top is so good. Oh, this
playing your library from the top is so like cool, like random and stuff. I really like Glarb a lot.
It gives me a little bit Oracle of Moldiah vibes that I can play the land off the top. Right, I can't play an extra one with him.
Nope.
But, oh, man, yeah.
Just because he's handsome, it doesn't mean he does everything. But no. I love Glarb. I like the art. I like everything about this card. This is the frog that I wanted. This is the frog I wanted, and I got him. And I have one at my house, which is really cool. Like, I opened one in a pack, which is just great. So I knew that it's destined to be. And it was the cracked out one, too. So I even got the art that I wanted. So it's going to be fun. I really like this guy a lot.
Well, let's scale it back with Gev Scaled Scorch.
I kind of like this one too, actually.
This is actually good. 3/2 for just Rakdos colors. Lizard, Mercenary, Ward, pay 2 life, because why not? Other creatures you control enter with an additional +1 for each opponent who lost life this turn. Not for each life, but if player 2, player 3, player 4 all lost life this turn, all my guys this turn enter with a +1 counter on ×3.
That's a big ornithopter.
That's a big ornithopter. Yes, I tap my thing that deals 1 damage to each opponent.
Yeah.
Like you would play in Rakdos Lord of Riots deck.
That's the exact deck that this made me think of. It's everybody that plays Rakdos Lord of Riots, and maybe your play group is just sick of you dumpstering them with Eldrazi's that you played for free. I think that this is a good analog to that deck that's like a lower power, where you get to play all the same kind of like burn everybody down at the same time gimmicks. But then the big high-end payoff is you have to pay mana to play spells and creatures that are probably small, but now they're big. And I like when you take big things or small things and make them big.
You know what?
That's fun.
This is my last take. I don't think that this guy's getting a whole ton. The last thing that he says on him is whenever you cast a lizard spell, Gev Scaled Scorched Butthole after Taco Bell deals 1 damage to target opponent.
It should say each opponent.
It says target opponent, it says lizard, and it doesn't include dragon. And if it is going into a Rakdos Lord of Riots 99, I'm already playing guys that don't need +1/+1 counters on them, because Rakdos gives me such a sharp discount in my 10 mana Eldrazi and my huge 8 mana demons and dragons. They don't need +1 counters to win me the game.
No.
So I don't expect to see a ton of this guy.
No, I don't expect to see him in the 99, but I think again, if you're playing Rakdos and your friends are sick of it, I think that this would be a good, like, kind of scaled back version of the deck.
Yeah.
Is where I think this guy's going to live.
Okay.
Let's talk about the second frog that should be blue and black and green, but is not, because she's blue and white and green, in Helga Skittish Seer.
Wait, you know what they're doing? They're all blue and green, but depending on what they do, they're red or black or white.
I hate it.
So we should expect to not see Surveil and Death Touch like on the black one.
Sure.
We shouldn't expect to see draw a card, discard a card like on the red one.
Sure.
We should expect some white feeling ability.
Oh, and we'll get it here.
So Frog Druid for Bant colors, 1/3. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 4 or greater, you draw a card and gain a life. So there's some Simic shit. And put a +1 counter on Helga.
Yep.
Okay, that's all Simic.
That's the...
So
that's the white thing, maybe.
What's the white thing? Okay.
You gain a life. You gain 1 life.
There you go. Okay.
That's it.
Tap, add X mana of any one color, where X is Helga's power. Spend this mana only to cast spells with 4 or greater mana cost, or things with X in their mana cost.
You can't tell me that shouldn't be the same colors as Glarb. Those two should be able to go in the same deck. They're probably married in the story.
They're
and
not.
If you watch Commander
There
Munchies,
you go. Maybe they will.
Know.
I've only seen chapter 1 so far.
Maybe they're gonna have a little frog romance, and they're gonna do frog romantic things with each other.
I'm thinking Lady Gaga, Bad Romance, but croaking frogs.
I'm picturing the frogs in Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time that you have to play the songs for, and every time you play a different song, one of them grows up, and then when they all grow up, they think they give you a jar, or a heart token. I forget what they give you.
A heart.
It's a heart.
When they grow up, they tap for mana, and then you don't need to use Roshin Meanderer anymore.
That's right.
So if you play that deck, go onto edhrec.com and look at the green cards and colorless cards from Roshin Meanderer and play them in your Helga deck.
There you go.
Yep.
Yesterday, I promised I was going to play a game with Ryan, and I'm going to make him say a word he doesn't know I'm going to make him say. It's not a dirty word or anything.
Oh.
I know, but it's a thing, because I've tried this with 4 different people, and it's worked every time.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you the name of a person, and you're going to tell me what animal they are.
Okay.
Okay? Hugs.
Hugs.
Now, without looking at the card, what kind of animal is Hugs?
A bear.
What about Hugs Grizzly Guardian?
Also a bear.
And you would be wrong, sir, because he's a badger, and that's stupid. Nobody sees the word hugs and doesn't think bear. Am I right, Producer Gary? Correct, says Producer Gary.
Correct.
See?
He didn't have the art in front of him either.
That's my only complaint about this card, because I'm going to this
card's good.
Straight into Omnath. I don't even care about that middle paragraph. He's a 5/5 for 4 with trample that lets me play an additional land on my turn. That's what I care about. The fact I can tack on extra mana to chaos draw the top of my library to play till my next turn, that's just a bonus. This is a cool card. I like it lots.
Yes. Now, just phonetically or whatever, grammatically, there's no E in that grizzly, so it is like the ugly kind and rough kind of grizzly, not the grizzly bear kind.
Correct, but let's face it, nobody thinks that.
Nobody thinks that.
Nobody thinks
this card's good. Put it in your extra lands decks, put it in your big creature decks, put it in your chaos draw decks.
It even could be. It could go in the... Who's the lady that makes wolves?
Sure.
Remember her? There's a lady that makes wolves when you cast things from exile. He would go in there too. This is a great card that goes in lots of different decks, and he's very cool.
I want it because it's a 4-drop play an extra land.
Yep.
That's a 5/5 alongside my 6/6 commander in my lands deck. I can hit for 11 a turn.
Me too. Except he's a 5/5 that goes along with my 5/5 that makes 5/5s.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Okay,
right? That's
this
a good
next
card.
one is the one I'm the most excited about over and above any of these.
Are you as excited about this as I am about Glarb?
No, because this is just going in the 99 of my bird deck.
Okay.
This is Castrel the Wind Crested, a 4/5 bird scout with flying for blue, white, 3. Whenever one or more birds you control deal combat damage to a player, choose one. One or more.
Okay.
So if I hit you with 3, I get to do this 3 times. Okay. I can put a bird creature from my hand or graveyard onto the battlefield with a finality counter on it.
Neat.
So it's Gitterbacker.
Yep.
Or a free spell caster.
Yes.
And I'm going to hit you because all my guys fly and yours don't.
That's true.
Or I can put a +1 counter on each fucking bird I control. And remember, I'm going to have lots of them. And remember, they all fly.
Yeah. And some of them might even have first strike.
And they all have vigilance because that's what my commander does.
Yep.
Or, wait, there's more. There's another choice still.
Of course there's more.
If I didn't want to do those other ones, I can just draw a card.
No, he's very good. This is a very good card.
This is a good card.
It's a good bird commander. If you don't already have an established deck and you're just looking to do burbs, this is a great
This is the one
starting point.
This might be the best one.
There you go.
And like people play Kanji and they play the other Kanji and I play Gwaihir, which is very much not the best one, but it's from Lord of the Rings and I'm a frickin' weeb. So this one's really good. Moving on.
Let's talk. This one I think will go quick. It's Kitsa Otterball Elite. It's
this card sucks.
1/3 for blue, 1 with vigilance and prowess. We've talked about prowess already. You can tap it to draw a card, then discard a card, which is loot. You can tap 2 and it copy target instant or sorcerer spell you control. You may choose new top copies or targets for the copy. Activate only if her power is 3 or more. So it tells you right on the wrapper what it wants you to do, and it's too many hoops for what you get, and that's it. That's it. That's it.
If you can tap and untap this with something like a twiddle,
sure.
You copy the twiddle to also untap your land, right? Or
sure.
you copy a copy spell when you have a twiddle, and like this goes infinite with itself, and every time you recast a card, and maybe Icecrown Scepter's in there because that actually casts the copy, right? Like this is going to get infinitely big, and then you could attack and kill somebody.
Unless they block it,
I suppose, yeah.
I think it's too mmany hoops for not enough bang. And prove us wrong.
Well, the proving wrong is going to be like, hey boys, watch this. You can just untap this infinitely with Twiddle and infinitely copy and bounce their whole table and attack for 10 million. And that's what every Kitsa deck is going to do. Otterball, it's right in the name. Instead of Elf Ball, where you're doing that with elves, it's Otterball. And you know that's like a nod to the strategy that it's going to facilitate, right? Or lead, or whatever the word is.
Let's go on to the first card spoiled from the set, right? Lumra Bellow of the Woods.
Is it?
I think it's one of the first. We've known about Lumra Bellow of the Woods for a long time.
Okay.
So it's in Star for green 4 with Reach and Vidge. It's an elemental bear, so we know it's a villain. This one probably should have been named Hugs, but we'll move on from there. Power and toughness each equal to the number of lands you control, so it's probably going to be a big.
Yep.
When it comes into play, you mill 4 cards, return all land cards from your battlefield to play tapped.
Not the ones you milled.
From graveyard to battlefield, tapped.
This is like Splendid Wreck on a creature.
Yes, which we already have at 3 and 4 mana.
Yeah, we've got a couple.
Yeah, and this is going to be real big. It would work really good. Let's say you cast it, and then you sack all your lands to something like she's your commander in this particular
like a
situation.
Zern Orb.
Yeah, so you gain a bunch of life, and all the lands come back into play, and then your Scoot Swarm triggers and makes a billion Scoot Swarms.
Yeah.
Which it's already doing. I think that she just makes the mono green lands deck just land way harder.
Or Iridescent Vine Slasher deals 1 damage to each or target opponent.
So you can one each guy or 1-2 guys maybe. But I think that this is a neat card, and it's going to be a giant beater.
Yep.
But I'm not sure, at least the way I play lands decks, I don't think she's good enough.
I was considering this card instead of Gitrog because I think that, because I'm not trying to Gitrog loop in my lands deck, but if late game or even turn 6 or 7, I guess that's late game, I can go pay 6, deal 20 to you because I get like all my lands in my graveyard back.
Pretty good.
That's probably good. It acts as Splendid Wreck 2 or 3 in my deck.
Sure. So it's just a higher cost version of a thing you already have. It's redundancy of an effect, which is cool.
Yeah. And it does go into the command zone if you're okay with swapping out your other mono green lands deck commander.
If you're okay with you're swapping an enabler for the one that makes your deck win. Because this isn't going to win any games by itself.
Well, and you have to have lands in your graveyard to take full advantage of this. Otherwise, it's just a big dumb idiot.
Yeah.
Right?
Even if it's that big, even. It might not even be that big.
Yeah.
It could be a 6 for 6 with Vigilance and Reach for 6. And in green, that's a shitty creature.
Yeah.
6 for 6, Vigilance and Reach. And then you stop talking. Yeah. What else does it do?
Yeah, it should have 10 more lines.
Yeah, does it have Trample? Does it have Death Touch?
Yeah.
Does it make treasures when it attacks? Does it make all of my cards foil? Does it walk my dog? This is a green creature that costs 6, and all it does is have Vigilance and Reach. Fuck this card. Mabel, Heir to the Crag Flame. Another card I can say fuck this card to.
3/3 for 3 in Boros. Mouse Soldier. Other mice you control, because, there's so many mice. Get +1/+1. When it enters, create Crag Flame, a legendary colorless equipment artifact token with equipped creature gets +1/+1, has Vigilance, Trample, and Haste, and equip 2.
It's another Boros equipment commander. And I hate to just be dismissive.
No, but it isn't, though, because it
kind of is.
The equipment that it makes isn't even that good.
Well, yeah, but it's another equipment commander. Because now your equipment commander, you don't have to worry about equipments that give haste, Vig, and trample. Because they already have that. So now you can focus on other stuff that you can get
I can cut the haste giving equipment out because it's on my commander.
Yeah, you can take out like a redundancy of Swiftfoot boots or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And play this instead because it just gives you Swiftfoot boots is a bad example.
Yeah, you might play that anyway.
It's the one I'm going to use though for this example where you can cut that and now you've got haste and trample and Vig.
You know what
with an equipment.
You know what I think more than
It'll go great in Bruner Battlehammer that FU Ben plays. Like, cool.
More than the haste, Boros, equipment, blah 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 commander. This represents the start of a new creature type matters deck that we have, and that's mouse.
How many mice do we have now?
There's 22 in Boros, and then there's one that's from like Infinity or whatever, which is the wrong colors. So there's 23, 22.
We'll see how many mice we actually get printed.
Yeah.
Because right now it's another deck. We have to jam all the shitty changelings.
Yeah.
Let's move on to something that's just so fucking greasy.
Maha. It's Feathers Knight.
People dunk on Toxrill for being just degenerate and a miserable experience. Maha, its Feathers Knight is just so savage. Because how many things in black just say creatures get -1/-1? How many things say that? They just printed one in Thunder Junction. There's a legendary guy that just says all creatures get -1/-1.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things that do that, and there's a bunch of like sorceries that are like 2 or 3 mana that say creatures your opponents control get -1 until end of turn. So Maha is a 6/5 elemental bird for 5. A 6/5 flying trampling bird for 5.
But there's even more.
Ward, discard a card,
Yeah.
which is a fine ward cost. Creatures your opponents control have base toughness 1.
Jesus.
Ooh, that card is
good. Just mean, dude. That card is mean.
This is would you call this a kill on sight commander?
Yes.
Because they go Maha, hold priority, cast like a -1 type card.
Yep.
You have to respond to that -1 type card with a removal spell to have not your guys die.
Yes. Like this how many games are just going to end because you play Maha and then Massacre Worm? Which is on curve. So you're going to go call it 3 Maha with a Sol Ring.
Yeah.
Turn 4 Massacre Worm. Turn 4 Massacre Worm probably wouldn't get you there. But like,
no, there's not enough creatures on the battlefield at that point.
But there's a thing. You could definitely sneak one of those in and just roast everyone.
This card is good.
This card is very good. It's not going to mine the salt of a Toxrill or a Turgrid.
No, it's not.
But it's going to make a lot of people go, ugh.
And you know what? Just baseline, it's good because all your creatures are killable now.
Yep.
Right? Every one of your creatures, if it blocks anything except a 0/1, but why would a 0/1 attack?
Exactly.
Is going to die.
Swamp Mosquito.
Yeah. Yeah. Swamp Mosquito. And I think as far as mono black control is concerned, you can actually build it for a fairly budget price tag after the $22 or $25 Maha.
Yeah, she's very much money.
Because you don't need the things like Toxic Deluge at however many dollars and Damnation at however many dollars. You don't need all that. You need the 18-cent like creatures get -1 until end of turn.
Yeah, and there's lots of we play them so little, I can barely think of any of them off the top of my head.
I play one in my Raw Dog deck because the ring tempts you.
Because there's lots of them.
Yeah.
I look through my binder sometimes and I find like, what the fuck do I even have this in my binder for? Like, what's the point of this?
Think of this. You could play the greediest, greasiest, non-basic black mana base and still play Mutilate, and Mutilate at 1 still kills every creature.
Yeah.
Whew.
Like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So this is like the budget black control list of everybody's dreams, and people can't even be mad because you go, well, at least I'm not playing Turgrid.
Ooh.
Right?
When that's your argument, I think people might still have some grounds to not like this card.
Bail out, you scum! I'm telling you. Let's move on to the next guy,
Mr. Foxglove.
No, that's a commander deck. We're gonna get to him. We're gonna talk about him.
Oh, he's good.
This bro here. We're gonna talk about Mura Trash Tactician.
Mura? Sure.
I like this guy because it's another of. I think there's 2 Gruul commanders actually in this set. They're like, yeah, Gruul can do everything.
So here we go. He's a 2/4 raccoon warrior. Our first instances of raccoons are in this set. For Gruul and 1, at the beginning of your first main phase, add red or green for each raccoon you control.
So you're gonna get 1.
Yeah, because there's so many raccoons out there, right?
There's like 2.
But it represents like raccoon becoming a thing, right?
Yes.
Now, whenever you expend 4, gain 3 life, that is spend 4 mana
To cast a spell.
to cast spells on your turn.
Yes.
Okay, so
During a turn. Any turn.
during a turn, yeah.
Yep.
So I could gain 3 life on multiple turns in a row if I spend 4 mana to cast spells.
Check.
Okay. Whenever I expend 8, exile the top 2 cards in my library until the end of turn. I can play those cards.
No, I think that he's just a value mana rock.
Yes.
I think is what he really represents.
Yes,
but
especially because there's not many raccoons. If I could farm raccoons and add 10 mana to my mana pool,
yes,
that would be awesome.
That would be different. But in this particular case, he's a value mana rock that again represents just a neat thing. It's spending mana matters.
Yes.
The commander, which is pretty cool.
You know what I like in this card too is the Domri raids that let you +1 to add mana for each creature you control or add a red or green, spend it only on creatures.
Yep.
This does almost the exact same thing at a similar mana cost. It's got 4 toughness and can maybe block to gain me virtual life, like Domri can get attack to gain me virtual life.
Yep.
This can gain me actual life, where Domri only gains me virtual life. And then it does some other thing with card draw or like an emblem or something that doesn't fucking happen very often or matter very much.
Yeah.
How much mana am I going to have to spend if I've already expended 8?
Yeah.
This is very Domri to me.
Yes, and also, as somebody who plays a lot of Gruul, I find that a lot of the time I am top decking.
Mm-hmm.
But if you top deck something that costs fucking 8 and you play it, it draws you 2 cards for your next turn, which doesn't not matter.
Until the end of your next turn. Yeah,
Right?
that actually matters. And if those are 8 drops, then I can expend 8 again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which
So it feeds itself a little bit.
It counts, and I think that that's a cool card. I'm going to try it out in my Wolfgar Eldrazi deck.
Goes great, again, with Flubs the Fool, where
Yep.
I'm casting those cards to discard cards, but I'm not discarding the ones that are in exile. So those can pile up every time I expend 8.
Yeah.
So those play nice.
It's a cool one. Let's talk about the infamous Cruel Claw. I've seen lots of chatter about this person on the internet.
Oh, this guy's good. Yeah. This is a 3/3 Weasel. He's a Weasel mercenary.
God damn it.
For red, black, 1 menace. When the infamous Cruel Claw deals combat damage to a player, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. Ooh. Okay. You may cast the card by discarding a card rather than paying its mana cost.
Let me tell you why I'm going to put this into my Obeka Splitter of Seconds deck.
Okay.
Because I'm going to attack with Obeka Splitter of Seconds.
Yeah.
And the infamous Cruel Claw.
Okay.
I'm going to hit somebody because they have menace.
Yeah.
Then, after the combat step, I'm going to get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 upkeeps. And the infamous Cruel Claw is going to mill me down to find something that gets me that thing.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Sure. Mm-hmm. I thought about this in my lands deck. Now, I'm exiling those cards. Mm-hmm. So that's not great if I'm just exiling like 25 lands out of my deck because I use them as win conditions. But it kind of acts like a tutor in a lands deck.
Yeah, because you just bin lands until you find not a land.
Ooh. Or I could stack the top of my deck and just take like the Blightsteel Colossus from my hand and put it on top of my deck with a scroll rack.
Yep.
And cast it by discarding whatever I switched with the Blightsteel Colossus.
Yeah.
Seems good.
Seems not terrible.
Because the card doesn't go away at the end. Like it stays there. I'm not sneak attacking it in. Mm-hmm. It stays there. Mm-hmm. Ooh, yeah. Yep. So this guy's cool in the 99.
And
He's
that
cool
happens,
as the commander.
I'm interpreting this right where it happens then, right? Like in Atali, where Atali attacks, you cast the shit from the top. This attacks, you look at the card, and then you cast it then.
It has to deal combat damage to a player.
Yes, but once the combat damage has happened, it's in combat that you play that spell.
Yes, the trigger is resolving, and part of the resolution of the trigger is you discarding a card to cast the spell that you hit. Yes. So it ignores timing restrictions. Like that's how you can cast creatures and stuff with Atali.
Boom. I like that lots.
Yeah.
This is a cool card. I like this.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of that. And
Yep.
we're going down to Vren the Relentless.
Oh yeah. Okay, this is like the rat deck that adds blue. Like the rat player and the squirrel player and the sliver player. They're just their own thing. They can play their fucking rat deck, and this is like fine. This limits you to playing Rat Colony or Relentless Rats, and you're going to play 25 of them, and like that's like, is there more that's needed there?
Let me tell you why. we're not just going to hit it and leave, but I'm
Okay.
going to tell you why I think this card is overly complicated for what it does.
Oh.
And I don't like it. So it's blue black 2 for a 3/4 ward 2.
Yep.
If a creature an opponent controls would eat shit, you exile it instead. Fine. At the beginning of each end step, create a 1/1 black rat or X 1/1 black rat creature tokens. This creature gets +1/+1 for each other rat you control, where X is the number of creatures your opponent controlled that were exiled this way.
What?
I read that wrong
Terribly
the first time, but the point is you get rats that are big based on the number of dudes that have died while Vren's in play, and I think that that's hard to keep track of, because if you bog somebody, which you're going to do in black, those creatures don't count.
Oh.
They have to come into play
Yeah.
and die, and now you've got 2 exile piles. What's this fucking exile pile for, right? And I think that's a pain in the ass, and it needlessly complicates a card, but it's really good for the Relentless Rat player, because like you double your rats.
This creature gets +1/+1 for each other rat you control, where X is the number of creatures your opponents control that were exiled this turn.
I read the card wrong this whole time.
So if you
just make X rats.
You just make rats and then you bog somebody, and it's like, ooh.
Who cares?
Yeah. If they're already in the graveyard, that's great.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh no, you're right. You're right. Okay, never mind. I take back everything I said.
It actually gets worse. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be exiled. I want to exile everything all at once, don't I? To make all my guys huge?
No, because you make dudes. You make dudes. See, I thought that the dudes got big for the number of dudes that were exiled, but it doesn't. You make dudes.
Oh man, are we gonna see this card ever in
Yes.
leading rat decks?
Yes.
Are we gonna?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, we will.
Oh.
Yeah, Vren is better than I thought he was. I take back my criticism. I think this card is actually pretty good.
I don't like this card.
Now that I've read it. Let's move on to the next
I like the next
rat
one.
guy.
Wick the Whirl-Minded. He's a 2/4 rat warlock, so this is the other rat jerk-off card. For black 3, whenever Wick or another rat you control enters, create a 1/1 black snail creature token if you don't control a snail. Otherwise, put a +1 counter on a snail you control.
So it's like a mass snail. That's what we're doing.
Snail army.
Yeah, we're amassing snail.
Okay. Caviar for the boys. Oh no, caviar is fish. What's snail? Escargot for the boys.
Man, producer Gary is so good.
Yeah, escargot for the boys. Okay, so then we can go blue, black, red, sack a snail,
Sure.
eat some escargot. Wick deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to each opponent, then draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power.
Here's what Wick is going to do. This is the one that's
this
going to
is
run.
good.
This is going to run the Relentless Rats / Rat Colony deck.
Yep.
You're going to do the Thrumming Stone, put all your rats into play.
And then fling a snail.
Yes. And then instead of getting wrathed out of the game and your game being over, what's going to happen is you're going to do all that shit, and then you're going to pay Grixis and sack the snail and kill everybody. That's what the deck is going to do now. Like that's how that
it's
works.
each opponent. I thought I was going to have to do that several times.
And if you haven't been ratting hard enough, or there haven't been too many chip-ins that have happened, what's going to happen instead is you're going to have Wick. You're going to play Vren at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you're going to make the great big snail, and then you're going to make even more snail because Vren makes more rats to make your snail bigger. Then when somebody tries to wrath you, you're going to sack the snail to kill the guy doing the wrath and everybody else along with him.
Oh, man. See, I like that. I like a mass snail. I wish I didn't screw up the escargot joke. I'm kind of regretting myself now.
So we're adding 2 colors to the rat deck, which is good because the Relentless Rat deck, I think lots of people have invested time and love and, more importantly, money in building them. And this set in particular is incentivizing you to build a really cool-looking Relentless Rat / Rat Colony deck.
Yeah.
And then they gave you the commander that you need that gets you over the hurdle that makes that deck suck.
So we've got Bryon Stardarm Fling.deck.
Yep.
We've got Imskir Iron Beater. That's like Fling Artifact.deck.
Yep.
We got Wick Fling Snail.deck.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yes, I like that. And we've seen black-red rat decks like the Piper guy, right?
Yeah.
And now we've got black-blue, and now we've got black Grixis. Yes.
Grixis rats. Now
Okay.
we don't. I hate when we end on one that sucks.
Okay, which one do you want to start with?
So we have 2 left. We're gonna do Zoraline Cosmos Collar, because I think next to the other last one we have, Zoraline is the one that sucks.
3/3 black bat cleric for black, white, 1 vigilance flying. So that's already good. 3/3 vigilance flying vigilance.
It's not bad.
That's going to win you limited games, tell you that much.
Sure.
Whenever a bat you control dies, attacks, gain 1 life.
Sure.
Okay, sure.
For all the bats.
Yeah, we're going to look at what that is. When Zoraline enters or attacks, you may pay white, black, and 2 life. When you do, return target non-land permanent with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it.
Now, let me explain to you what this card is. This card is shitty Sun Titan. Okay? There's no bat deck. Maybe there is. Maybe there are people out there that play bat decks.
Scryfall thought I meant battle.
And if you do play the bat deck, I'm proud of you.
45 bats? Oh, but some of them are like the double creature merge creatures. Yeah, those don't count.
And they all suck.
Yep.
Like, who's going to play Blind Hunter? Honestly.
That card's got haunt. You don't know what that means?
There's so many 1/1s for 4 that fly. Like, who gives a shit about any of these bats? Nobody's playing these fucking bats, okay? This card is a shitty Sun Titan. Just play Sun Titan.
Hey, Mirkwood bats, that's a good bat.
One. Okay, there's one good bat.
But it is a 4-mana bat. You're right.
Right? Like, I don't think that bats are a deck archetype that people have been crying out for.
Mm-mm.
And when you look at the non-bat typal theme of this card, it's just shitty Sun Titan.
Yeah, I don't expect that we'll see this one very often.
I don't think we're going to see this card anywhere, except for the people who want to build the bat deck. And if you are, I'm proud of you.
We're gonna see Raw Dog Batwing decks.
Yes. And they're going to try and, they're going to overstretch their hand.
They're gonna overstretch something.
Mm-hmm. Okay, last one.
Last card.
I like, and I don't know why, but I really like Yigra, Eater of All. The 6/6 for green, black 3.
That's a good
Ward,
card.
sack of food.
Ooh, that's never getting targeted.
Except for it will, because
that's
it allows
right.
itself to be targeted.
Okay.
Because of course it does. Other creatures are food artifacts in addition to their other types, and then have 2 tap, sack, gain 3 life.
Yep.
Whenever a food eats shit, put 2 counters on him.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good ass card, man.
So whenever any creature dies, he gets bigger.
So you play Yigra, Eater of All, then you pay. Well, I'm not thinking. What's the Marsh Casualties that's actually good? My brain was trying to think of things that give creatures -1/-1.
No, well, you could just play this with like Wraths that don't get this, like Toxic Deluge and Mutilate.
That's the one. Toxic Deluge.
Toxic Deluge for 5, and then this just becomes like a 15/15.
No.
This is a good card.
That is very good.
This is going to give us I think a black-green control deck with a finisher in the command zone.
Yep.
Doesn't provide you any card advantage, really. Also, if you have some kind of infinite creature combo, you could like gain infinite life.
Yeah.
Right? Like, of course, you need mana and thing, but you could gain infinite life with this in the command zone as part of that combo, and then you could have a second finisher, I don't know, like Ether Flux Reservoir or Toxic Deluge for 58,000, right? And
no, then you have to pay all that life.
Yeah, but we've gained all that life from our foods.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
But then it just kills all their guys.
Don't care.
But they don't die.
Maybe sacrificing creatures and food is something that we want to do anyways. So we make all our creatures food. Right?
Sure.
And they're artifacts too, so that like triggers artifact dying. This is an interesting thing.
Yes.
For more than just like flavorfully, it's a giant cat that's eating mice and rabbits.
Is this the
This is a
second
cool
card that we've played to just throw an unwinding clock in there real quick and just
gank everybody?
Just benefit from stuff? Like, I like this card. I think it's neat.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the deck itself is going to be like groundbreaking or super exciting or super crazy, but I do like it, and I think that you're going to see some neat stuff done.
I want to see what this deck is. This is another one that you can send us in the Discord in the preferred deck lists. Send it in. We want to feature a deck like this. This one, maybe Wick, maybe some from the pre-con if you want to modify. Flubs
is
Glarb.
Flubs is number one. Flubs is the one that we want the most.
Okay.
I want Flubs. And then I want Glarb.
Send it in.
Send them to us.
And if you want to pick up any of those cards, you go to fusiongamingonline.com, CCO Summer promo code. Get a discount. Pay less money. Right? Big thanks to them. Yeah, big thanks to them. Big thanks to producer Gary. Big thanks to Pile of Bones Brewing. And final thought of the day before you take us out, I'm leaning back.
Okay, I'm a big fan of how this set has gone. I think that we talked about it last week where it's kind of cutesy and neither one of us are super into that. But
it still fucks like a tail with a butt plug.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely.
Yeah.
I think that they didn't go so cutesy on it that people who don't like cutesy can't enjoy it. And I think that people who do enjoy the cutesy are getting exactly what they want. And I'm really happy that all those people are happy because it's not like we're left on the outside. We got a bunch of stuff that we're going to play and a bunch of stuff that's great. And if you're getting more than that out of this, then this set is a rousing success. And we're going to talk about more things that are rousing successes when we discuss the Commander decks from Bloomburrow on the next episode of Commander Cookout Podcast.